Advertising is everywhere. We see it on the TV, hear it on the radio, and see it on billboards as we drive. So the natural question becomes, are our morals being shaped by the media? In a recent study taken at the University of South Florida, 500 students were interviewed. 80% said yes, 10% said no, and another 10% was undecided. In a similar study taken by the Cultural and Media Institute, 74% of Americans believe our morals are being shaped by the media, and only 7% said no. I caught up with Brittany Yebzenka, a junior at the University of South Florida, and got her view on the issue.
You can't escape the ads, their content, they're on the cereal that you eat in the morning, and then the milk you pour on your cereal, the refrigerator magnets that you put the milk back into, they're everywhere, TV, radio. So advertisers know what they're doing. They use the humor that you like to get to you. They use images that you like to slowly change how you might view something, along with just society changing as a whole affects your view.
As you can see, the American public tends to believe our morals are being shaped by the media, but those in advertisement have a different standpoint. I caught up with Howard Vincent, one of the leaders in advertising at the University of South Florida, and got his issue on the story.
Much of advertising is really trying to be on the forefront of what's happening culturally. We spend a great deal of time in advertising learning from and living with people in order to best reflect changing values, changing beliefs, changing thoughts, changing behaviors as it occurs within society. So while it may sometimes appear that we're shaping culture, it typically comes from what's already starting to happen, but may for the first time be evident to others because of the fact now we are reflecting something that is taking place in an advertisement. For instance, if you go all the way back to the 1980s, Where's the Beef, for instance? While not a culturally shifting, monumental, groundbreaking advertisement or changing culture, it did instill a certain type of language. People could walk around the streets and go, "Where's the beef?" Heck, just a few years ago, walking around at a football game, how many young men did I see, yelling at each other, "What's up? What's up?" So to one degree, it becomes part of the language or the lexicon, but not so much actually changing culture overall. I think maybe recently the closest I might say that would occur would be, say, with Apple Computer. Apple Computers were always the small challenger brand to IBM and ultimately all the PC clones that came about. But it was Apple's intense advertising to instill the message that it's creative tools for creative minds. But usually advertising is on a smaller scale of just that kind of language, or it's the way a Mercedes-Benz symbol it just tells the world, high quality advertising business. One of the famous quotations, and I'm going to butcher it, so loosely adapted from David Ogilvy, is treat the consumer with respect. Speak to her as if she were your wife. And David Ogilvy said that because he wanted all of his employees and all people who make advertising to realize that our job is not to lie, mislead, or manipulate. It's to merely speak about a product or a service or something that needs to be advertised in a way that informs people that there is an option and that there's wonderful benefits for why they might want to have this product or service in their life. I would say advertising is generally derived from a belief about what we think people want or need, either because they've directly told us or because we have ascertained or looked into how they act and behave and think that we have a product or service that just needs to be spoken about differently. Another famous quotation that I love is that people may not always know what they want, but they know it when they see it and are willing to buy it. So in my belief, advertising does not necessarily deceive and beat people over the head and say you must have it. However, advertising always puts a product or service in the absolute most positive light possible and doesn't really address the negatives in order to instill that desire that may not necessarily be there if you had not seen the ad.
As you can see, there are two conflicting stories here. Advertising says that they're just reflecting the American public, and the American public says advertising is pushing their morals on them. Whichever side you believe is up to you. But there's one thing to be certain: advertising is not going away anytime soon.